Battle Through the Heavens, Chapter 219. A brief reunion and a cold departure in the desert. The heat-warped horizon collapses into a spray of stinging grit as the hunter's stride finally falters against the mounting gale. A sharp breath held against the roar turns lethal intent into a sudden, trembling stillness when the hood slips back. Amidst the howling waste, a soft, fractured smile weighs the air more heavily than the chase ever could.
Standing tall in the sandstorm, after a long while, the black-robed person let out a soft sigh and slowly turned around. A slender hand gradually pulled down the hood, and immediately a fair, beautiful, and indifferent face was revealed amidst the wild, raging sand. Her beautiful eyes rested on the youth's bright face, and Yunji's pink lips could not help but curl into a small smile. She did not take Xiaoyan's previous lethal words too much to heart.
She understood that this was merely the other party making an excited joke, although this joke caused a certain place in her heart to feel a gentle touch.
I was still recognized.
Yunji used her slender arm to brush back her bangs. The strange long sword in her hand waved slightly, and a hint of helplessness flashed across her beautiful face. Looking at that familiar, beautiful face, Xiaoyan could not help but grin. His hand held the green lotus seat as he took 2 steps forward, smiling as he asked,
"We have not met for half a year. Have you been well?"
Yes, not bad.
Pressing her red lips together, Yunji seemed to want to maintain her usual indifference. However, whenever her gaze met the youth's smiling face, that forced coldness quickly dissolved. After several such attempts, Yunji could only let out a deep sigh, nodded slightly, and spoke in a soft voice. Her eyes swept over Xiaoyan, and Yunji's beautiful eyes brightened slightly. After half a year of experience, Xiaoyan's figure had undoubtedly grown taller. His delicate face had also become a bit darker from traveling in the desert for several months. The originally soft lines now vaguely revealed a hint of fortitude. Clearly, the youth had matured a great deal during this half year. With Yunji's status, she had seen countless young talents. Among them were many handsome men whose looks could almost make women willing to follow them anywhere. However, she had never shown the slightest bit of attention to those people. A man who could make her feel both surprised and happy because of his growth seemed to be only this youth, with whom she shared a complex and tangled relationship.
You have entered the rank of Dao Shi?
Looking at him now, Yunji was slightly surprised. Then she felt relieved. When they first separated, Xiaoyan had reached the peak level of a dozi. Although with his talent, breaking through was only a matter of time, being able to break through so quickly within a short half year and stabilize his power truly made Yunji feel a bit unexpected.
Yes, it was just luck.
Xiaoyan smiled and nodded. His gaze evaluated Yunji for a moment, and his previous surprise and joy became calm. After a short hesitation, he asked,
"Why are you with Pill King Jiyu?"
Hearing Xiaoyan's question, Yunji was startled for a moment. Her eyes flickered as she spoke softly.
Pill King Ji-Yu. He has a wide circle of friends in the Jia Ma Empire. I am also acquainted with him and once owed him a favor. This time, he wanted to come to the desert to search for a heavenly flame, so he invited me along.
Oh.
Xiaoyan nodded, clicking his tongue once more in his heart at Yu Ho's status in the Jia Ma Empire. He then looked down at the green lotus seat and said,
"Then, if you do not bring the heavenly flame back, will he not blame you?"
Perhaps so, but my task is only to protect their safety. In other words, I do not have a great obligation. Furthermore, he already considers you a mysterious Dao Huang powerhouse. Therefore, he should understand how difficult it is to snatch a heavenly flame from the hands of a Dao Huang. If I fail, he can hardly say anything. Of course, it is inevitable that his spirits will be a bit low.
Yunji sighed softly. Although she had an old friendship with Gu He, she also understood Xiaoyan's stubborn nature very well. If she truly tried to snatch it now, she feared this little fellow would immediately turn his face against her. Do not look at how Xiaoyan usually appeared much more mature than his peers. Regarding certain matters, he was more stubborn than a 3-year-old child. Once he had something in his hands, he would not let go even in death. Her slender hand gently rubbed her aching forehead. Yunji gave a bitter smile, sighing inwardly at her own bad luck. Of all the people to meet, she had to meet this brat. If it were anyone else standing before her, even if the opponent were a Dou Huang powerhouse, Yunji would find a way to take the heavenly flame. Although with her strength, she could take the heavenly flame in almost an instant, Yunji truly found it difficult to act against this man who had once been stripped and facing her, and with whom she shared such a tangled relationship. Seeming to also understand Yunji's distress, Xiaoyan gave an embarrassed laugh, clutching the green lotus seat to his chest, and muttered,
Sorry, I have also been pursuing this thing for over half a year. Even if you all had not come to the desert, I would have gone to find Queen Medusa.
But what do you need the heavenly flame for? With your current strength, if even a tiny bit of this thing touches you, the only result will be your bones being turned to ash.
Yunji's pupils stared at the green lotus seat in Xiaoyan's hand. Her dark brows furrowed slightly as she asked in confusion.
It should be so. It is very necessary for me.
Xiaoyan laughed, speaking somewhat ambiguously. Seeing Xiaoyan's vague manner, Yunji could only shake her head helplessly. If he did not want to say, she would not ask further. She immediately turned her head, looked toward the distant desert, and said,
You should leave this place first. There are 2 Dao Wangs from the snake people race chasing from behind. I will help you stop them for a while.
And then? I suppose you will leave again, without saying a word.
Xiaoyan shrugged and laughed.
Sorry, there was indeed an urgent matter last time, so...
Hearing a hint of resentment in Xiaoyan's voice, Yunji could only explain softly, before saying,
After blocking them, I will rejoin Ji He and the others. After all, we had a prior agreement.
Is it that rushed?
Xiaoyan let out a somewhat helpless sigh and smiled bitterly.
We finally met with great difficulty, yet we must separate immediately. Who knows how long it will be until we meet again? You people are always so mysterious.
Yunji smiled slightly as she looked at the youth's face. After hesitating for a moment, she suddenly said,
Are you still practicing alone?
Yes, that is right.
Rubbing his chin, Xiaoyan smiled and nodded. He did not dare to expose Yao Lao.
Although your cultivation talent is not bad, even the finest jade needs to be meticulously polished. By practicing alone, you will take many unnecessary paths. If you do not mind, I can recommend a place for you. There, you can have the best cultivation conditions.
Yunji's beautiful eyes flickered gently as she spoke with a smile. Yunji's beautiful eyes flickered gently as she spoke with a smile.
What place?
Startled for a moment, although Xiaoyan did not have much interest, curiosity still took over, and he could not help but ask.
The Yun Lan sect.
Yunji smiled and said,
The Yunlan sect's influence in the Jama Empire is very strong. I happen to have a friend inside. If you are willing, I can.
At this point, Yunji suddenly stopped because she discovered that the youth in front of her, whose face had been full of smiles, had become somewhat gloomy.
What is it?
Not knowing what had happened, Yunji asked with some confusion.
Forget it. What would a small figure like me do at a place like the Yunlan sect? Going there would only make me a laughingstock.
Xiaoyan shook his head and spoke with a cold laugh. Seeing Xiaoyan's attitude suddenly turn harsh, Yunji's dark brows knit together. She seemed to want to explain.
The Yunlan sect is not as unbearable as you imagine. Furthermore, with your cultivation talent, who could mock you? I am doing this for your own good. At least there, you can directly obtain the Dao Qi and Dao techniques most suitable for you. Moreover, the disciples of the Yunlan sect are all chosen from thousands of miles away. Their quality is very good. You should be able to get along with them.
Forget it. Forget it. Regardless, I have no good feelings for that place. I am doing very well practicing by myself. I have no mood to go to some sect.
Hearing Yunzi describe the Yunlan sect as so perfect, Xiaoyan felt a surge of displeasure in his heart, especially when he heard that their quality was not bad. A burst of anger unexpectedly flared up. Not bad? A place that could raise a woman like Nalan Yanran? How could it be anything but wrong? His face flashed with a gloomy expression. Xiaoyan let out a soft breath, waved his hand impatiently, and said indifferently,
All right, enough talk. If you want to go find Jiyu He and the others, let us part ways here. I also have urgent business. Farewell. We will meet again if there is a chance. If you truly do not want to see me, then forget it. Thank you for today. In the future, if there is a chance, I will return this favor to you.
As he spoke, Xiaoyan did not waste any more words. Holding the green lotus seat, he turned around. The two wings on his back vibrated slightly, and he quickly soared into the air, streaking toward the distance. Standing blankly on the sand dune, Yunji watched Xiaoyan turn into a black dot. A long while later, her teeth bit her red lip tightly as she stomped her foot in anger. Her beautiful face showed a hint of aggrieved resentment. She had acted out of good intentions for Xiaoyan, yet she never expected this fellow to have such a large reaction. His words this time were full of thorns, truly making Yunji feel as though her kindness had been eaten by a wolf.
That stubborn man! If you do not want to go, then do not go! Why must you act like that?
Yunzi bit her red lip, her toe kicking the sand dune. A fierce surge of energy shot out, creating a trench over 10 meters long in the sand.
A favor again? Do I really need a tiny favor from a douchey like you at this time?
After venting her anger, Yunji's beautiful face was flushed. Her hand suddenly gripped her longsword, and she let out a soft breath. The rare emotions on her face were immediately restrained, replaced by a cold, icy indifference. Turning her head slightly, at the edge of Yunji's cold gaze, two tiny black dots were rapidly flying toward her.
A bunch of pieces of cowhide that cannot be shaken off. Do you really think I will not kill you?
The long sword in her hand pointed diagonally, and a sharp sword aura shot out from the tip. Yunji stared indifferently at the two small black dots getting closer. The corners of her icy mouth lifted into a curve. Clearly, she was prepared to vent the belly full of grievance and rage caused by Xiaoyan onto these two people.